Hey pilots, there's 5 things that you need to know about med kits and how to deal with a situation if you're out in the field and you have an incident. We're going to show you these med kits and talk about what's important to deal with those 5 things. Then we're also going to show you how do you put a tourniquet on, how do you pack wounds, you know, the things that are going to be mission critical to saving somebody's lives. We're going to go through all that right now in this video. So let's go ahead and get started. Hey pilots, welcome back. We're in the E3 hangar today, and you know, a lot of people see our med kits and stuff inside our airplanes or inside our cars and stuff like that, and they're always asking me about it. So today we're going to go ahead and dive into the med kits that we have in our planes, why we have what we have, the different kind of med kits that I have all the time with me, and we're going to talk a little bit specific to us as aviators and what's important. Now, there's certain things that we need to always have in our airplane, and there's certain things you definitely need to know how to use. We're going to go ahead and open these up, and we're going to dive in and talk a little bit deeper about that. So let's go ahead. So to start, you know, I want to talk a little bit about, you know, why I have 2 different kind of kits here. The first thing is these are from MYFAK, which their products are just awesome. I always have one of these in the airplane. This is the MYFAK Large Pro, and I'll show you the differences of what the Large and Pro is when you see it. Every one of these I have in every airplane and my trucks and cars. You'll see in the carbon cub here, this is hanging on the MOLLE panel in the back. This is my EDC that I carry everywhere I go with me. So this kind of, if I throw it in a car, I throw it in another car, going to the mall, whatever it is, this one is always with me. Now this is more than just a med kit. This is my EDC. It has all kinds of stuff in here, but it always has my mini med kit in here from MYFAK. So this is the mini that we're going to go through too at the end of this video. I'm going to show you what's the difference in here. So in here I have like the absolute necessaries, the things that are going to be real issues. We're going to call the term M.A.R.C.H, M.A.R.C.H. We'll get into what that means. So everything that I can handle from a M.A.R.C.H standpoint is here, tourniquet and stuff. So this is kind of my EDC. There's other stuff in here like medications, there's radios, waters, battery packs. Go watch our other video on everyday carry EDC. This is in there, especially along with our firearms and stuff like that. So that's that kit. We're going to go through that at the end. So let's talk about this kit right now. We're going to open it up. This is from MYFAK, and it's called the MYFAK Large Pro. The other thing that I do, especially if you're in the firearms world or you're hiking or something like that, I always put a tourniquet, additional tourniquet on the outside. We're going to get into the tourniquets and stuff. Got a tourniquet here, tourniquet here, tourniquet here. I'm going to talk about why these are here, what's the differences and stuff on them. Now, the nice thing about this particular kit, other than everything that's in it is important, is it's already got a MOLLE panel on the back, which I'm going to show you. Got MOLLEs in the front, so I can hang other stuff on there. I'm going to show you why about that in a second. If I pull this off, the other thing that's nice is this is usually on the MOLLE panel in the aircraft. If you look at our TAC Aero MOLLE panel on the plane or in the Cybertruck, we have a MOLLE panel that this is on. If you need to pull this off, you just pull this off and just rip it, and it comes right off. And this stays in the MOLLE panel, and then you got your kit with you. This comes apart, and then you can just throw this over your shoulder or whatever it may be. So I always have a tourniquet that you can get to quick, because you're talking minutes. If somebody needs a tourniquet, you're talking minutes. There's also one inside here. It's like a backup. The nice thing about this kit is it's like a book. You can see how we open it up here. I'll turn it towards you. This is the large, and the other reason I like this one is because I customize my kits. I add more stuff into it, like right here. We got orange glucose. So I have some glucose in there for kids or something. More dehydration packs if somebody's out and needs a little bit of more hydration for water. I have other things that I actually put in here. I get more of the elastic bandages and I put those in there. So these are my master kits, and you'll see why. Is we're going to pull all this stuff out. We're going to put it on a table. We're going to go through all this stuff and talk about how to use some of it. I mean, some of it's self-explanatory, but we're going to talk about quick clot, tourniquets, things that are like mission critical things you need to know. The other thing you're going to like about this kit is everything is color coded, as you can see, like bleed, burn, you know, different things when it comes to, you know, different mods and topical. You get into washing, cold packs, blue, fracture kits, purple. So the nice thing about MYFAK is everything is color coded. The other thing, when you get a kit like this, open it up and look at every single one of these things. Know what's in it, know how to use it. This is the quick clot. This is really important, especially in firearms world. Any bleeding, this is going to be the holy grail for sure. We're going to talk about how to use that in a minute. Look it up, read it, go on YouTube, do whatever you got to do to learn how to use this stuff, so you kind of know what it is, what it's here for, how to use it, and then you know where it is in your kit. Let's take a minute. I'm going to pull everything out of the kit here. We're going to put it on the table, And then we're going to go through it and learn how to use not everything, but all the mission critical pieces that you really should know, whether you're flying in your airplane, you're off-roading, camping, RVing, or even firearms. All right, so we got everything out on the table on this particular kit. Now, this large kit is great. There's over 200 things on here and in these packs and stuff that you could definitely have with you all the time. Now, I'm not going to go through every single thing that's in each one of them. Obviously, there's some stuff in here like Band-Aids. I'm not going to go through Band-Aids. You know, this is like the medicine kit where you've got stuff like antibiotics and you've got Advil, stuff like that. You know, those are all packs that are in there. So it's nice how MyMedic lays all this out and what they have in it. We are going to talk about what's in here, but I'm also going to go through the things that are mostly critical for the term of M.A.R.C.H. Well, let's talk about the term M.A.R.C.H, M-A.R.C.H, and what that means. That was something that was created way back by the Army for all the medics. I'm going to go through those. Those are like the 5 mission critical things that you should definitely know, be trained in it at a minimum. Obviously, this isn't a comprehensive video on being a medic or anything of the sort. It's just not even close to that. But you can log into your E3 membership. We have hours of a full course on getting into every single one of these things, even legal aspects and things like that. So log into your E3 membership. There's full courses on all this stuff in there. Or go over to MyMedic's website. They got some really great videos on the MyMedic website. M stands for massive bleeding or hemorrhaging. Bleeding that's just like, you know, you've got minutes that if somebody's massively hemorrhaging, they only got minutes to live. That's where we're going to get into tourniquets. We're going to get into quick clot and you know, packing a wound. That's all the red that we have here. A is airway. We're going to get into stuff like NPA to make sure that people's airways are clear. Then we'll go through respiratory, and you know, this is an important one. These are where we're going to get into chest seals. And you're going to hear me talk about all the time when we get into this and when we show you how to use these about why I always have 2. I actually always have 4. And there's a reason you should always have more than 1 chest seal, especially for gunshot wounds, or if you're in an airplane and some of those braces and things like that may get loose if you flip over in backcountry flying and you get a puncture. So we're going to talk about chest seals, and that's the R. So M-A-R is respiratory. Then we'll get into C, and that's circulation, making sure that the patient has circulation. Then we get into H, which is hypothermia. It doesn't have to be below 0 or cold out for somebody to get hypothermia. If they're losing blood fast, hemorrhaging, they can get hypothermia even in 90-degree weather because they've got such a massive amount of blood loss. So those 5 things, M-A-R-C-H, you should know those as a minimum if you're a pilot, firearms, off-roading, camping, RVing, hiking. The other thing I like about this kit is they give you enough room in it and they're big pockets so I can add other stuff. Like I added some things into this kit that are like, this is almost like super glue for wounds. So if you got a superficial wound or something like that, you know, you can actually hold it tight, use this glue, put it on there. They use this in surgeries. So if they're doing like laparoscopic surgeries and things, they may put a hole in you. They just actually seal it up with super glue after that. Also, I like to put in hydration packs. I always add a bunch of stuff. I also add glucose and things. There's a lot of extra stuff. This one is not in this kit. It doesn't come with it, but this is an oral airway kit to kind of clear the airway. And then also if you need to do CPR and things like that with a bag. And I add other stuff into there. If the ones that go in the airplanes, if we're flying out in the wilderness or you're bush flying, I'll add stuff like emergency rations in there. Now, one thing I will tell you that doesn't come in this kit, you got to have in all your EDCs or your med kits, get a Sharpie, you got to have it in there. Why? Tourniquets, writing times and when tourniquets go on, so you can write on somebody's body. So let's go through kind of what's in this kit, and then we're going to dive in and we're going to show you how to use tourniquet. We're going to show you how to use chest seals and packing a wound. Okay, so we're going to start here in the red and we're going to kind of just go around and talk about what comes in this MyMedic kit. And then we're actually going to dive into how to use this stuff. We're going to show it to you. We're going to roll some footage in on how to use this stuff. Now, like I said, I'm going to keep saying it, there's a lot of stuff here that has nothing to do with M.A.R.C.H. But M.A.R.C.H is what you definitely need to know. Make sure you're trained on it. Obviously, you've got your gauze. Your gauze mods are in here. So gauze that you're gonna, you know, after you pack a wound or something, you're gonna wrap the gauze around it. In this kit, you have what's called super skin. Super skin are just basically Band-Aids and things of that sort. You got some large Band-Aids, small Band-Aids. Then you got some more different size Band-Aids. The nice thing about the large is, you know, if you get a small, you might get one of these, one of these, one of these, and then, you know, that's in the small. But the large I like because if you use some Band-Aids or you have to use a space blanket or some of the hydration tools and stuff, you still got other ones left over. And then on their site at MyMedic, you can always do refills. I did refills of the bandage. I did refills of these. If I have to use them or something, I can put that back in. Then the emergency pressure bandage. We're going to show you how to use this in a minute, but basically what's going to happen, if somebody's got a gunshot wound, or if you land in a plane and a pole goes through somebody or whatever, you're out fishing and somebody sticks a pole through you, then you can use the quick clot to get into where that artery is bleeding. Then you're going to use a little bit of a pressure pack, and then you're going to put this on top of it and then seal it up. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to open these up and show you how to use these. Then of course you got compress gauze. Compression gauze is basically the same thing as this, except it's in this nice little package. I like these, and I buy extras to these because these are small and they're all compressed. So you'll see this is on a roll. So as you unroll it, it's the same as this, but this is compressed and it's like a Z. I like these because I can stick a couple extra in the car, stick them in my smaller kits. This kit comes with another tourniquet. This tourniquet doesn't come in the kit. I keep this on the outside of my kit. I really don't like these, but I kind of keep it in here as like a backup. If for some reason you got 2 or 3 passengers, or you know, you have an accident where a couple people need a tourniquet, well, you got more than one. And I typically have 4 or 5 anyway. And I am going to talk about this tourniquet when we get into tourniquets, because this is a brand new one that I've been using, and this just stays right in my pocket of my pants all the time, no matter where I go, malls, whatever it is. And there's a reason why I have this one with me all the time versus the cat tourniquets. Then you got burn mods. Inside all these different things, there's not just one thing, there's multiple stuff. So this has burn relief dressing and burn relief gels. So you can address the burn, and then you can get some dressing on top of it at the same time. There's 2 of those in there. Then you get into stuff like these, clean and prep mods. You've got all kinds of stuff that you'll get to see when you log into the website. Antiseptic wipes, alcohol wipes, all kinds of different wipes and stuff for cleaning. You know, you're gonna use these in combination. Somebody's got a gunshot wound and you're gonna pull out your chest seal because they got a chest wound. You're gonna use one of these, you're gonna be cleaning the gun wound or the hole, then you're gonna get the seal on there. So some of these kind of get used together. Now this is what's called a topical mod. Like I said, there's multiple stuff that are on here. Antibiotics, wipes, baby wipes, vasopressin, sunscreen, all kinds of different stuff in here. So I'm not going to go through every one, but if you go to their website, check it out. They show you what's in every single kit. That is a topical. Base blankets, this is what we're going to talk about when we get to the H of March. These are really important, especially if somebody's losing blood. You don't want them to go into hypothermic conditions, so you're going to be using this all the time. Then you got stuff like this. Now I added these to this kit. Eye wash, you have a crash or something, you roll over in your cub in the wilderness, you know, you can get in there and wash out the wounds and things like that before you dress it. So I can wash it out with that, then come over to my cleaning and then address the wound as needed. Now these are kind of cool, and I would say get extra of these. So go do reloads and get 5 or 6 and leave these in here. These are blister packs. So I get 5 or 6, I put it in my EDC, 5 or 6 in here. These are things when you're walking, you get a long hike or something, and all of a sudden you're 2 miles in, and you got blisters from new shoes or from whatever reason you're carrying something. These are awesome to have, and these are something you can put on to try to adjust. It's like a good surface so stuff won't rub against it, so you can put these on blisters. So get extra of these for sure. Okay, so let's get into the yellow. This is a medication mod. There's multiple things in here. So you've got aspirin, you got ibuprofen, you've got extra strength Tylenol, Dramamine, all kinds of stuff that's in these packs. And again, in the large, you get multiple packs. Okay, now we're gonna get into Airway, and these are NPAs. If somebody's choking or they're out conscious and their tongue's in the back of their throat and they're not breathing, these are, we're going to show you how to use these in a second. These are what you would use to go through the nasal passage and bypass the tongue so that they can actually breathe. These are CPR shields, and then these also have an end on them where you can actually connect them to oral airway, to the nasal airway. You can connect these and you can do CPR with these. Now we talked about hydration packs. Like I said, I get extra ones. Well, this comes with hydration packs and they're all in here. These are saying hydration mods. So it's not just these hydration packs. In these are multiple stuff. So you got water purifier tablets. So if you're in the middle of the Everglades, we go down in the seaplane or something like that out there, or in one of the other planes in the parachutes. Now you've got stuff in here where if you got to get water out of the Everglades and drink it, you've got tablets in here to purify the water. You've got hydration packs. We're going to get into the chest seals, but I just want to say it now. Why is there 2? Typically in the firearms world, if there is a gun wound in the front or somewhere what we call the box, so you get the box here, there's typically an exit wound as well. Or if a pole goes through somebody on a crash, there's usually something on the back too. So you want to make sure you have multiple of these. And I usually have 4 plus. Okay, now we also have mini wound closures. So what does that mean? Well, we already talked about how I get the extra, it's like super glue, but then there's also these strips, you know, the strips that'll hold a wound together and stuff. Of course, we've got our gloves, so we got our gloves there. So now let's get into the purple where we're talking about sprain and fracture. There's stuff in here like elastic bandages, you've got a splint, finger splints, you've got the triangular bandages, you've got bandages here that you can basically secure somebody's arm if they have a broken arm or something like that. You want to get it kind of secured, and then you can wrap them. Then of course we have cold packs, you know what those are for. Then there's even a tool mod. So in here you've got a flashlight, so you can check pupils and stuff, or if you're working at night, tweezers. You've got a thermometer, and you also have a whistle and things like that in here. So these are kind of like tools. Then of course you've got some tape, the elastic bandage I talked about that I always use. I get extras of these. So I have a couple of these in every one of my kits that are all over. And it's just like we said, if you need to wrap somebody, if you got to kind of secure them. This kit comes with paracord. Of course you have your medical shears, your tape. That's kind of like the large version. Now, when we get into the EDC kit, we'll go through just the medical side of it in a little bit here and talk about the little med kit in there. It's a lot of this stuff, but it's narrowed down to the things I would need walking through malls or if I'm just jumping in the car kind of thing. We'll go through that, and then we'll go through all the other EDCs in there. Like I have multiple tourniquets in there. Now I want to start to dig into the M.A.R.C.H. Now that you've seen what's in this kit, we're going to go ahead and dig into M, which is massive bleeding.